In the heart of Michigan, where the snow falls thick and the winds whisper secrets, a hunter's routine was about to change forever. It was a cold day after a blizzard when the woods of Oak Grove State Game Area in Livingston County became the site of a discovery that would shake this small town to its core. The deer hunter, trudging through the snow, thought he had stumbled upon just another fallen branch. But as he stepped closer, a horrifying realization gripped him. What he had tripped over wasn't a branch, but a body, nearly hidden beneath the snow. He froze, unable to move. It was a woman, her body partially exposed, a young life tragically taken long before its time. Police were called immediately, and within an hour, the victim was identified as Christina Castiglione, a 19-year-old woman missing for 10 days. But this was only the beginning. The details of the case were chilling. Strangulation, sexual assault, and a body discarded in the same remote location that another young woman had been found 2 years earlier. Was this just a coincidence? Or was something far darker at play? Now, picture this. 2 unsolved murders, both young women, both violently killed, both dumped in the same place. Could this truly be just coincidence? Over the next few minutes, we'll reveal how detectives spent nearly 40 years chasing down leads, while a breakthrough in forensic science finally brought the long-awaited answer. And just when the case seemed impossible to solve, DNA turned the tide. But before we dive deeper into the chilling details of this story, tell us where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments below. We love hearing from our global audience. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe, because this story is one you won't forget. For nearly 4 decades, the case of Christina Castiglione haunted Michigan, a mystery that lingered like smoke in the cold winter air. The victim, a young woman with a promising future, was found dumped in the same area where another young woman, Kimberly Louiselle, was discovered years before. Despite the eerie similarities between the 2 cases, the authorities had no solid leads to pursue. Detective Thomas Riley, who was fresh on the force when these cases first emerged, had lived through decades of frustration. He inherited the ghosts of Christina and Kimberly, cases that had slipped through his fingers like sand. Yet with every passing year, he remained unwavering. The families of these young women needed answers, and Riley wasn't willing to let them fade into the dark recesses of cold case files. Christina was just 19, a woman with a full life ahead. She had a job at Detroit Edison, a steady boyfriend, and plans for a future. But on March 19, 1983, that future was stolen. After a day of running errands and an evening of waiting for her boyfriend, she stepped out to find him. It was the last time anyone saw her alive. What happened between Christina's departure and the discovery of her body just 10 days later? The question lingered in the air, unanswered for decades. Then, in 2022, after years of investigation, the Livingston County Cold Case Team received a grant that would change everything. The case was to be re-examined with advanced DNA testing, a game-changer in cold case investigations. The team turned to Othram Inc., a private forensic lab specializing in forensic-grade genome sequencing, a method of DNA analysis not available back in the 1980s. The DNA samples from Christina's crime scene were sent to Othram, and within months, the scientists there were able to build a genealogical profile from the suspect's DNA. It wasn't just a match from a database, it was the key to unlocking a mystery that had remained sealed for almost 40 years. Through painstaking work with genealogical databases, Othram's team narrowed down the search, and the breakthrough came when they identified the suspect's family ties. The suspect's name was Charles David Shaw. But the truth was even chilling than the name. Shaw's name echoed through the investigation like an old ghost. He had a history, a criminal past that included multiple arrests for burglary, drug possession, and even attempted kidnapping. But despite these run-ins with law enforcement, Shaw had never been linked to Christina's case. He was simply a name on a piece of paper, until now. The investigation uncovered disturbing details about Shaw's life. According to his family, Shaw struggled with mental illness, gender identity issues, and an unhealthy obsession with sex addiction. Yet none of this had connected him to Christina or to Kimberly, until now. Shaw had lived in Livonia, Michigan, just a short distance from where Christina disappeared. But why was she targeted? There was no clear connection, no link between the two, making the crime even more terrifying. He was a predator, hidden in plain sight, until the long-forgotten DNA finally revealed the horrifying truth. But the case took another tragic twist. Charles David Shaw had died in 1983, just months after Christina's murder, from sexual asphyxiation. His death meant he would never face the consequences of his actions in a court of law. Yet the haunting truth was finally uncovered. The family of Christina Castiglione was left with a bittersweet sense of closure. Their daughter's killer had been named, but justice would never be served. For Detective Thomas Riley, the feeling was heavy, relief mixed with anger. Justice had been delayed, stolen by Shaw's untimely death. But for the Castiglione family, they finally had the answers they had been longing for. The truth about Christina Castiglione's murder was finally revealed, even if the full justice she deserved would never come. Though Shaw would never face the court, his name, his crimes, and his legacy would not be forgotten. Thanks to advancements in forensic DNA technology, the truth had been brought to light, solving a case that once seemed impossible. But the story of Christina and the pain her family endured doesn't end here. This breakthrough in forensic science has paved the way for justice in other cold cases across the nation. And though Shaw will never answer for his crimes, his name, just like the names of so many other victims, has been spoken, and the truth will never be silenced again. If you found this case as chilling as we did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more of these unsolved mysteries finally brought to light. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to stay updated on all our latest videos. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and always remember, justice, no matter how long delayed, will eventually find its way.